And here we have the front pieces. This is the lapel that goes to the front of the top. We also have 4 bands that goes to both sides of the top. We also have the back section cut on a fold. And we have the front section both cut single with 1 inch allowance. So there we go, both pieces. This is the front piece and this is the back piece. So we have both sections, and like I said before, we have the straps and the lapel piece. So let's begin. Here we have the lapel piece that goes to the front of the top. I'm going to measure 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch coming in. So you're going to be 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. I'm going to join this step to the 1/2 inch marking, this step to the 1/2 inch marking. I'm also going to fold it in half and cut along the line. So this is going to give you 2 pieces. So once you already cut it in half, like I said before, you're going to mark 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. And you're just going to go ahead, mark from the tip to the marking of the 1/2 inch. You're also going to do the same thing once you separate this. You're going to measure over 1/2 inch on both sides, and you're going to cut all the way down. You're going to go ahead, stitch down and stitch this, stitch down, stitch this. You could leave roughly about 1 inch to 1/2 inch opening, so you could turn it inside out. If you need to make notches after you sew it, so it could lay flat, go ahead and do your notches. Also the bands that go on the top. I'm going to go ahead, fold it in half, and I'm going to stitch it all the way down and turn it over. I'm going to do that for all 4 pieces, turn them over. So here we have the back section of the top. I'm going to open the top, place them wrong side facing each other, line up the shoulders, I'm going to go ahead and do it like that, and I'm going to join the shoulders. If when you're sewing the liner, you join this underarm section of the liner, you could skip this section that I'm saying to do now. So what you're going to do, once you stitch the shoulders, you go ahead and stitch the armhole together. So if you stitch the armhole together on the liner, after you do this, you're just going to put them together. Now if you didn't stitch the underarm armhole on the side of the underarm armhole, if you didn't stitch that together, you could go ahead and join it after we're done and join it together. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch the shoulders. So once we stitch in the shoulders, they join together. I'm going to come back and we're going to put the liner, join the liner and the top together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here we have the liner for the top. I placed them right side facing each other and I pinned the shoulder. So like you did with the top, I did the same exact thing with the top, front and back. I pinned them together, right side facing each other, and I stitched the shoulders. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with the liner, right side facing each other, and I'm going to stitch the shoulders. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here we have the front and back pattern. I went ahead and stitched the shoulders. And this is what it looks like when I'm finished stitching the shoulders. So now we're going to move on to the next section. After I've sewn the shoulders on the front liner and top, front and back, I place them on each other. I align the shoulder, place them right side facing each other, and I pinned it down around the armhole. I pinned it on the neckline, I pinned it on the armhole and the neckline, both left and right side. So this is what it's going to look like when you line it together. So now, two things. If you're going to put a sleeve in, you don't have to sew the armholes. You could sew the neckline and the sides and just leave the armholes. If you're not going to put a sleeve in, go ahead and stitch the armhole. Also with the neckline, if you're going to put in a color, you place the color under here, and then you just put the liner on top and you stitch it down. So if there's no color, you're just going to have the liner and the front top. If there's a color, it's going to be the liner, the color, and then the front top, and then you stitch it down. Also, if you choose, you could go ahead and stitch the closure section. You can stitch it down. So I'm going to go ahead, stitch the armhole, neckline, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. This is what the front and back joined together look like after we've stitched the neckline and the armhole. I turned it right side facing each other. So this is what it ended up looking like. This is the right side. What I did is I placed a liner on a facing on the closure for the front section. I'm going to stitch this down, fold this over, and I did the same thing over here. I pinned it down, so I'm just going to stitch this down. So these two would be the closure, which goes to the front of the top. So this is what it looks like. Also, I'm going to place a dot on the front section, like right here. I'm going to place a bust dot on both sides of the top. So both sides is going to have a bust dot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to go ahead and place the liner on the closure, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here we have the dot sewn on both sides, and the front closure is stitched down on both sides. So one gonna be buttons and one gonna be buttonholes. So that's the closure and the two dots. So now what we're going to do is work on joining the sides. So you're going to line up the armhole together, and the side. You're going to lift the liner piece. You're going to lift that up. Make sure the armhole is lined up. and you could stitch from this way, come down, or you could just stitch it down this way. So I'm going to line the liner up and the armhole, and I'm going to stitch my seam allowance all the way down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Also, the top needs to be hemmed. So I'm going to go ahead also and even out the length to the desired length that I choose, and then I'm going to just go ahead and hem it, because once you're doing the dot, I did the back the same length as the front, so the back is going to be longer because of the dot. Normally you would, if it's easier for you, you could go ahead and do the back 1 inch shorter than the front. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm just going to hem and stitch the sides, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here I place the dots, the bust dot, the waist dots, and I also place the back dots. So this is what the back looks like, and this is what the fronts look like. Sometimes when a client requests something, you're making it. I was making the top that she requested. When she came for a fitting, she decided to make some changes. So if you've noticed, the straps and the pocket base is off. She removed the pocket bases, and she didn't want the straps placed in anymore. The straps would have been placed both sides of the waist. She didn't want the straps, and she didn't want the buttons. When she tried it on, she decided that it fitted her better like this. She liked this better, and also she's using this to put over like a strapless top, so that's why she didn't need the sleeves. But normally when I do a top like this, they normally request collar and sleeves, but every client is different and you have to sew what the client wants. So this is her finished product, and this is what she came up with. So this is the front and this is the back. Thank you once again for visiting my channel. See you next time on my other video.